Now that we've looked at the setup for the OpenID Connect side of the house, the next thing we'll do is we'll start configuring the gateway with the OpenID Connect plugin. Before we get started, I just want to briefly outline the steps that are involved. So this is a flow diagram of what exactly will happen. So first off, we'll set up a service and route on Kong that we can proxy to. We'll then enable our OpenID Connect plugin with some of the configuration settings that we've saved in the setup for Okta. Once we have the OpenID Connect plugin enabled, we're going to be following authorization code flow. So authorization code flow typically is either something like a mobile application. In our example, we'll be using a browser. So the flow that will go is that I'll be using my browser to connect to an API that is protected in Kong using the OpenID Connect plugin. So from the client, I'll initiate a request or to sign in. Kong then sends the auth cookie and redirects to Okta. So I'll get in the browser, I'll get a login page. I'll enter in my credentials there, so my username and password. And then the client signs in to Okta. So in this case, maybe it will be my browser through Kong. And then Kong redirects with an auth code. Okta sends the auth code and redirects to Kong. So this is the typical flow that we see with authorization code flow. So what I'll do next is I'm going to log over into our control plane. And I'm going to be working out of the default workspace. So right now, I have a very simple gateway service set up. So I've set up everything locally with a data plane first. So I have a data plane running locally, but you could run this wherever you want. The next thing I'm doing is I'm just creating a service. So I have my OpenID Connect service that is pointing to a very simple echo service, which is http bin / anything, right? And I'm exposing this service over a specific path, right? So our OIDC path here is / OIDC. So what I'll do is I'm going to open up an incognito tab here, and I'm going to localhost / OIDC. So what should happen is, we haven't applied any plugin yet. We're just doing basic proxying through the gateway. So once that is set up, our service and route, we're going to enable our plugin for authorization code flow. So to do that, we're going to go over to the plugin section, and we're going to search for OpenID Connect plugin. Right now, I'm enabling it on the service itself, but you could enable it on a route or also global. I'm next going to copy in the client ID and secret that I copied in the setup for or Okta application. So from here, I'm copying in the client ID. If you don't have the secret saved, you can simply just come back over here to your application section and grab the client ID or also the secret, right? I'm next going to specify the issuer endpoint. So I'm going to copy that in here. Now, if you haven't saved this already, you can simply just go back over here, go to the API section, and copy it from the issuer endpoint here. So the .well-known address is the one that you need to use. Because we are just limiting this to authorization code flow, I'm just going to specify it for that one. And that should be it. So I'm just going to click on Save next and enable the plugin. So now if I come back over to our browser and I send a request to our / OIDC endpoint, before when we were getting a successful response back, we should be getting redirected to Okta, right? So this is initiating the flow that I talked about. And if I log in with a username and also a password, I'm able to successfully get a response back from the upstream. So that's it. That's how you can enable authorization code flow and protect your services with using our OpenID Connect plugin. Thanks very much for watching.